Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knick Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, and as always, we have a lot to talk about. The internet is acting up. I got away with it this morning. I'm not sure I'll be able to get away with it during this show, so you may see me go audio only. But for right now, I'm here with I Am Jerrell, Dope Soul Alumni 2022. We actually, in March, had our 3rd year anniversary, and I didn't even remember to say anything about it. Uh-oh. It's acting up already. Anyway, Ajay the Villain, Geoff Klafter from the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports Blog. How's everyone doing?
Cool, man. We 2-0.
Amen. Doesn't get any better than that.
Nope.
Until it's 3-0.
Right. Salute to you,
I can't even hear y'all.
You can't hear us?
You can't hear us? Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I think I hear you better when I just... Can y'all hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear. Actually, better than when you were on video.
I took off my... Oh, okay. All right. Well, here we go. Did I miss it when I asked how's everyone doing?
No, we good.
We're good. We ready for the quiz.
Yeah, I mean, oh man,
we up
and oh man, I'm super excited, hype. I've been watching a lot of all day, just watching the national media's reaction to the Knicks going 2-0. I didn't even get a chance to listen to like Locked On Celtics and content creators like us today. It was so much in the national media. Anyway, let's just start with just your overall thoughts on the series so far. Are you surprised? Is this what you expected? I don't know if this is what any of us expected, but anyway, me and Geoff has had opportunities to talk about each game in depth. Jerrell, just your thoughts on the series so far.
Well, I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't surprised. I mean, I guess the way that Boston choked both games, and it's not like we didn't have anything to do with it. Steph, you can hear me? Mic check. You good? I don't think Steph can hear us.
I don't know. I guess keep going though, because
keep going.
Yeah, I can't. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I can't hear you guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work if you can't hear us.
But don't mind me. Keep going.
Okay. Well, yeah. Of course, I was a little bit surprised, but mainly how Boston played and how they choked away both games. That have it done once was crazy, but to have it done twice in a row at home, that was not like them at all. It's not like anybody. I think that's the first time it's ever happened in NBA history. So we up 2-0. We still got a long road to go. The series is not over. I'm focused on game 3. I'm not taking this for granted. I do think we can beat this team. We can definitely win this series. We got a 2-game lead, and that's all I think right now when it comes to the overall, overall thing. Like going forward from now, like now my mindset is a little bit different. We have a chance.
Right.
I thought we had a chance before, but it's even better now. And we got the home court advantage. We just needed one game to switch the series over in Boston. We got 2 of them. So we one leg up on them. Hopefully they keep imploding and we can continue with the series. So, on the game 3.
Do you think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you think this is a matter of the Knicks stepping up, or do you think this is just the Celtics, like you said, imploding, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, because they are imploding, but we are better than them in the clutch. Like that last 5 minutes when Jalen Brunson takes over, Mikal Bridges took over in the fourth quarter, the last game too. We just seem like we have better closers. Like we have Jalen Brunson and they don't. Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. We took that game. It's not like they gave it to us. We never quit. And it just shows the resiliency of this team compared to them. Like, I don't know what's happening to them. Like, they're not playing like themselves, but hopefully that'll continue.
The Knicks is what's happening to them, but
That's what
I love it. Max, preach, queen.
Ajay,
Well,
just your thoughts on the overall series?
and just like Jerrell, I can't say that I'm not surprised or happy. I always felt we were gonna split the first two games. I said as much in our show with, with the not really a prediction, but I felt we were gonna take game one. Game two was an absolute bonus. I actually went into game two knowing that, all right, we're gonna throw that one away. We already got one. We grabbed one home court advantage, so we're gonna come in. We're gonna come back here and try to defend home court. Not that we've been a great home team throughout the playoffs. I mean, we actually been a perfect road team. We haven't lost a game on the road so far this postseason. But you still hope that those guys would come in and perform well in front of the home crowd. It's a great spot to be in if you're the Knicks. It's a great spot to be in if you're a Knicks fan. I don't care how long this lasts, but right now it feels really good. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm enjoying it. And just like you, Queen, I there's just not enough time for me in the day to listen to all the people, going back on their words, reversing their prediction, and trying to figure out what's wrong with Boston. They're not trying to figure out what's right with the Knicks, but what's wrong with Boston.
Exactly.
It's like, wait, we watched. I think all of us here saw all 82 regular season games. We know this team, like we know they could put up stinkers, but they could also put up great games. And they have games down the stretch where 50-50 games where we could take the game too. And so far, really, beside from game 6 of the Detroit series, we haven't played a great New York Knicks game. The really good games we've seen all season long. We haven't seen a really, really good game from our guys so far. True. And yet here we are in the second round, up 2-0.
True.
Yeah, everybody is talking about, Boston has missed 45 threes. If they would have just made one more three or two more threes, we're not playing our best basketball either. We're missing free throws. We're missing shots. Jalen Brunson hasn't been Jalen Brunson, and I think they're focusing, in my opinion, on the wrong things. Things get bogged down in the playoffs. You can do all the stats you want, all the advanced stats you want. At some point, it's going to come down to who's making the shots when it matters the most and who's getting the stops. And that's been the Knicks. That's been the difference in in the series. When it gets down to it, the Knicks are not phased. And they have multiple players that's coming up big for the Knicks. Jeff, what stood out for you in this series? Shout out to the chat, by the way.
Well, I think
I thought you abandoned us. Welcome back, man.
Well, I think it's funny that when Boston beat us by 8,000 points in game one, nobody questioned the shooting 70% from three on like 8 bajillion attempts, right? That was just, the Knicks are bad. But now that it's reversed, it's just because they're shooting bad. And before wasn't, they're just shooting unsustainably well. People tend to forget that shot variance is a thing. And when Boston has it going, when their shot variance is good, when they're, they shoot so many, when they're shooting 50, 60%, it's nearly impossible to stay with them. So there's that. But, I've always thought that the mark of truly good teams even great teams, it's the ability to win games on the road. I don't think I've ever seen, I know I haven't seen it from the Knicks, but I don't remember too many teams in NBA history that have started out winning their first 5 road playoff games. Like that's pretty astonishing when you think about it. Now, they weren't blowouts. They were, stuck in the mud, just boxing matches, if you want to say, like every one of them, like the how close that they were. All those games are within 5 points of each other, I think. But look, it doesn't matter the spread. All that matters is you get the W, right? Nobody says, oh, well, they were NBA champs, but their differential was only 1.2 points. No, nobody's going to say that ever. So really, to me, the Knicks are solidifying themselves as a contender when you go 5-0 on the road and you can take care of business, because you have to be more focused on the road. There are a lot more obstacles on the road. And this team they're taking on the challenge, whatever it may be, whether it be 20 points down, whatever it is. They're just going on and about their business, and you can't give up on them. They're never out of a game. It's kind of crazy to watch. I've never seen anything like it as a Knicks fan, and I'm loving it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. I said in the show this morning, I don't think there's a big talent disparity, in my opinion, between these two teams. I just think the Knicks haven't been playing up to their ceiling up to this point, and I think that they're peaking. I don't think we're playing over our heads at all. I think we're finally playing to our ceiling, or at least I don't even think we're even close to that, quite frankly. Um, and that's what makes me feel super comfortable that the Knicks would win this series. It's not like if Detroit beat us, it's like, whoa, like how did that even happen? I know some will feel like that about this Knicks team because they're stuck on who we were over the first 82, but we're just a different team, in my opinion, at this point than we were in game 82. Much more resilient, mentally tough, getting contributions from multiple players. And Mitchell Robinson is here now. Mitchell Robinson wasn't I think he played maybe the last game against Boston, and he's making his presence felt, and he's making us a different team. Something got into Tom Thibodeau, and all of a sudden he went into the back of his 1956 Chevy and pulled out this old bag, and he is in it. He's in it, in terms of, what defense we need to play now, who needs to be in the game right now, who doesn't need to be in the game. He's just, I don't know, he's just doing his thing. I do think this thing about getting out coached, to me, is so overplayed. Like whenever a team wins, oh, that coach out coached the other team. Whenever a team loses, oh, that team got out coached. Because you can have players hit shots down the stretch and bail a coach out. And everybody is talking about how great this coach is when they really had players that bailed them out. And then you can have coaches making the right decisions and the players are not executing. Oh, this coach got, just out coached. So you can't just look at the outcome and say whether a coach got out coached or not. But in this case, Missoula, to me, is playing scared. Now, I know who McBride is. I know who Mitchell Robinson is. Missoula is playing like Mitchell Robinson is Bill Russell. Oh, here it is, the first quarter. I'm exaggerating. The first quarter, 4 minutes into we got to get him out of there. We got to get him out of there. Yeah, let's just get him to the free throw line so we can get him off the court. Like, he playing scared. Now, and listen, the advanced stats may support that. But if you play basketball, you saying, yo, what are you doing? Like, you don't think I can score against Mitchell Robinson? Like, you don't. You don't think that we're good enough to score with Mitchell Brunson on the floor? Like, what are you saying? And then on the last possession, he didn't call a timeout. You know why he didn't call a timeout? Because he didn't want Tom Thibodeau to put in Miles McBride. Now, listen, Miles McBride is a better defender than Jalen Brunson. We all know that. I'm not piling on McBride, but let's not act like he's Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna call the last time out to give us the best opportunity to win, because then they could sub out Brunson. Like, you know, he to me, he just playing scared, and I just wonder how his team is perceiving um, these decisions. And by the way, choosing not to call a timeout by a coach in a situation like that is not in itself a bad move. Like, coaches will do that. They don't want a team set up, so, you know, let's just let him go. He talking about he want to run the same play, but if you look at it with 10 seconds left, I forgot what show I was looking at, showed that the screen was too far down to run that same play, and there was an opportunity to call a timeout. So I say all of that to say, I think the out coach thing is a bit overrated. But in this particular case, it very well may apply. Let's get into who and what stood out, and each of us will pick one, and we'll do it round robin. And again, I ask this question all the time, but I always believe if it's the same question in a different panel, then it's a different show, right? So we're talking about over the first two games, who and what stood out for you. Everybody will pick one. And obviously, if you want to piggyback off of what a person says, you can definitely do that before we move on to the next one. We'll go, Geoff, because we've had these opportunities. I'm going to let Jerrell and Ajay go again. Jerrell, over the first two games, who and what has stood out for you?
Between the two games, it's kind of hard, and that's actually a good thing because different people stepped up in each game. Like, Cat had a bad game the first game. Brunson had a bad game in quotes the second game. And then Josh Hart led everybody in points. So I'm going to go with Josh Hart just because of the last game. I think he's been a monster out there. He's been hustling. He's been, his battery's been on 100%, it seemed like, all this time. And he led us in scoring last game. That is unheard of. That don't usually ever happen. Other guys weren't making shots, but Josh Hart actually stepped up. He's actually been playing better D, and his hustle is on another level right now. He looks like an all-star out there. Like he's everywhere. So I'm gonna go with Josh Hart right now.
Yeah, I can't argue. Anybody want to piggyback on how Josh Hart has played over the first two games?
I mean, we'll talk more about Josh Hart. I'm sure we're going to talk about individual players as we go along in this.
Oh, this is Josh Hart's segment, Ajay. So whatever you want to say about him, go ahead.
I quickly wanted to point out that he didn't just have he wasn't just our highest scorer. He was game high. He was the game high. Like, nobody in Boston scored. Josh Hart, had the highest score in the game. And you know what? I think we're so used to not seeing him score that this was a welcoming situation for us to see Josh Hart out there hitting a couple of threes, driving to the basket, getting the N1, and so on and so forth. And obviously we needed every bit that he had to offer because we won this thing by a single point.
Right.
By a point. So we needed him, to score, was it 21 or 23 points?
It was 23, but it felt like 50.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It felt like 50. And that, so yeah. And then
23 is 50 for him.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. It felt like 50.
Right.
And not just a point, the level of activities, all the other stuff too he's got going on during the game. The rebounds, the getting in the way of the passing lane, playing, and he played, he didn't play terrible defense, because usually Joshua's not a great defender, but he stepped up the defense. He's being real pesky out there, getting in everybody's way. So that was also very helpful and noteworthy. So it wasn't just the points.
And twice when correct me if I'm wrong, when Karl-Anthony Towns got those key offensive rebounds in game 1 and game 2, wasn't it off of Josh Hart, like crashing the boards and missing a layup, and
Yep.
Towns on the other side? Yeah.
It's either that or him. The main rebounder getting preoccupied with Josh Hart and leaving the space open for Cat to grab the rebound. Like he had a hand in it.
Right. Yeah. You're actually right. And I said it this morning. It's noticeable from the commentators, Reggie Miller, whoever else was doing the game, like really, singing his praises, in terms of how he's just out there, Swiss Army knife, doing all the dirty work. Jeff, anything on Josh Hart? You're muted.
I'm not going to say too much about it just because we talked about him this morning already. But Hart's been incredible. I love his process. He's shooting the ball without fear, and that's what we need for him to make or miss. I mean, that when you make 3 out of 6 and in a game that offense was at a premium, that's incredible for a guy who's hesitant to even shoot it on most nights. For him to step up and realize the gravity of the situation, and that if he's open, he's got to take advantage of it. I love his process so far in this series. So very, very good job by him.
Yeah. Ajay, you pick next. Who or what stood out for you?
All right. And, just like Jerrell, it's kind of hard to, and it's good. It's hard, but it's good that you can't really pick out one player or one situation or one thing that stood out for you.
Well, we're going to keep going around till we get to all of it. So don't worry.
Right. So what stood out to me is Mitchell Robinson, right? The difference that he makes is so underrated. And Queen, I know you're saying he's not, Joe Mazzulla, he's coaching scared. He's looking at the stats. He's looking at the plus minus. When Mitchell Robinson's on, like yesterday, I think he scored 6 points, but he was a plus 19. So, and Mazzulla admitted as much. He said, like, he wasn't doing Hacker Mitch. And somebody please tell Reggie Miller it's Hacker Mitch, not Hacker Robinson. That annoys the crap out of me. It's just like so lack of creativity. Hacker Robinson.
Does it matter?
It doesn't sound good. It doesn't have a good vibe. Hacker Mitch sounds better. But somebody who has Reggie Miller on their social media, please tell them Hacker Mitch. But so he was fouling Mitch just to get him out the game, not to send him to the free throw line, just to get him out. And he was.
I understand.
He was very impactful. And when we had this show on Sunday, and that was from the last series, we showed a little bit of what Mitch does, like how he impacts the game. Even he gets no credit for it, like how he played defense. How he, in the last series, how he had Jalen Duren preoccupied to open up, to allow Mikal Bridges to have that put back in game 6 and so on and so forth. So the things he do, you don't keep record of those things, but they're like crucial. They're vital to what the team does, So, and yesterday, that last play when Joe Mazzulla, when he didn't call the timeout and Jason Tatum went all the way, I don't know if it was by accident or if these guys knew to not press at half court, to prevent the same play from happening again. But the second time around, they defended it perfectly. And if you look at the end of the play, Mitch, when Tatum switched over, he was out of Mitch's range and Anunoby had him. Mitch had already switched his focus on preventing the rebound or grabbing the rebound or preventing was it Al Horford or whoever was there from grabbing the rebound. So he was already he was already, because he in his head, OG got this, so let me prevent the if they don't let me grab that rebound. So he already had switch focus to something different. I mean, those are like, I remember these things happen in a split second for these guys to make those decisions, man.
Facts.
You know, it is, yeah. So his plus minus is crazy, and he's helping the team. These are close, close games. We won the first one by 3 points, the second one by a point. So every one of these little 50-50 balls, every one of those little plays are very important. They're crucial. We're winning the game. Everything contributed to us winning those games. So I wanted to, that's what stood out for me the last couple. That's one of the things that stood out, because there are many things that stood out.
Yeah, this is just the first round.
Yeah.
We'll get to them. Yeah, I definitely am watching that play over. Just when Tatum had that step on Robinson, and OG came over to pick him up, and Robinson, like you said, the presence of mind to switch on to Horford. Forget the rebound. So somehow the ball doesn't find its way to
prevent the lob. To prevent the lob also. So he's like double duty.
Right, exactly. The presence of mind. I mean, the Knicks are so sharp. And when Bridges threw, and I said this morning, when Bridges threw the ball down the court, you see Jalen Brunson running out there like a wide receiver, just trying to make sure that he gets that ball before it gets out of bounds, because if there's any time on the clock, they get it back. You see him hustling, trying to get the ball. But that's also about presence of mind. Like, I don't want this ball to go out of bounds, Yeah, Mitchell Robinson has been awesome for us. And shout out to Thibodeau for going to him and knowing to go to him and sticking with him in that fourth quarter. OG was on the bench when Mitchell Robinson was in the game, and Tom Thibodeau was comfortable with OG, being on the bench. Geoff, anything you want to add? And I know we had the show this morning, Geoff, but we got 128 people. A lot of them may not have seen the show this morning, so don't hesitate if you want to repeat something from this morning.
Well, I've got some new stuff on Mitch, so I kind of want to share that.
I'm sure you did find some new stuff.
Shout out to Stafford Don, who's smiling down from heaven. Mitch was his guy.
Shout out to Stafford.
Oh my goodness, for real.
Rest in peace, brother.
So here's what I want to say about Mitch. The couple things. First of all, I think his screening has been the best of his career. I think he's done an awesome job in setting screens and making contact on screens and opening things up for the other guys who are on the floor with him. I was floored to find the double big lineup with he and Towns is like plus 80 in terms of like points per possession. Their offensive rating is like plus 119, and the defensive rating is like 45.7 or something like ridiculous like that. So when Mitch and Towns are on the floor together, it's been massively successful. And this was a big question mark for us all season because we didn't have him till March? So we didn't know what we were going to get from Robinson. What's it going to look like when he gets back? And right now, knock on all the wood, but we're getting the very best of what Mitchell Robinson can offer. His impact on the game is undeniable, and it doesn't. If you're playing him with two bigs, he's doing well. If he's out there as the lone big, he still is getting it done. The offense to defense substitutions are working well. Now, if we could just get him to make a foul shot, things would be perfect.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, Mitch might be the worst free throw shooter I've ever seen, but he's been an absolute beast so far this series. Like, he's done everything that he's supposed to do, and a lot of it is not even the stuff that is on like the stat sheet and stuff. Like the way he's moving his feet when he's playing.
Correct.
Defense, it's been all world. Like Mitch has been the X factor of this series so far. Just by the way that Missoula is trying to coach against him, like you said, they think he's Bill Russell for some reason. But yeah, Mitch has definitely been balling so far.
Jerrell, that one free throw, man. That actually had me die. I was laughing because I'm like under stress watching the game.
It
But that
went like 12 feet.
Oh my God. Yeah, it went.
But the finish
It's
to
15.
make the basket before the free throw was extraordinary. You have to admit that was a great finish. He didn't get the N1, but it was a really nice bucket.
That
was a nice bucket. That was
It
a nice
was, it
bucket.
was.
That free throw had me dying, and I'm like, oh my God, how that was ugly.
And you could tell on his face too, like he was embarrassed for that. Like he didn't. Yeah, it was definitely not intentional. He didn't mean to do that.
No, what? Come on, he warmed up for it. He took his
Right.
time. He stood there like
Shoulders was all
focused,
square and stuff.
Square.
Like he shot it like it was supposed to go in, and yeah, it went about 11 and a half feet. But salute to Mitch though, man. He's balling.
Yeah, and I like the way, like, this is how I envisioned using Mitch when he came back.
Right.
You know, that's how I envisioned Tom Thibodeau using him, like, you know, playing behind Towns and with Towns some, and really being very strategic about when you use them and when and when you take them out. And Tom Thibodeau has been just on point, in terms of deploying not just Mitch, but just the lineups, period. So shout out to Mitch, back at the right time and making a difference, making a difference in this series. Geoff, who do you want to go to in terms of who and what stood out?
Well, I think Mikal Bridges is a great place to go because two of the best defensive plays I've ever seen in the postseason in my life. And he did it in back-to-back games. And, I mean, has just been a dog on defense the entire series, in my opinion. If you look at their wings, they all have poor shooting percentages. That means he and OG are working overtime. They're really doing a great job. They're staying with their guys. They're making it tough on everybody. And then to be 0 for 6 or whatever, 0 for 8, whatever it was, and then come in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line and your team's down 14 and you score 14 points in the fourth quarter. That's big time stuff. And he was huge on offense in the overtime game in game 1. He hit that big 3 for us. So just really stepping up his game. He just looks like a clutch player. He really is elevating his game at just the right time. And in fact, all the Villanova guys have really shown championship mettle, in my opinion, in this series. So shout out to them. But Bridges has absolutely been phenomenal in this series. And, and yes, the first 3 quarters were really ugly from an offensive standpoint. And I think he had a lot of good looks. So he does need to clean that up. But from a defensive standpoint, you want to talk about impact on a game. I mean, he is like night and day difference from early in the year. He was dying on screens like right and left in the beginning of the year. I was so frustrated. I was like, where is the defensive player of the year guy that was in Phoenix? I don't see it. Well, now I'm seeing it. And it's vital when you have a team like Boston who has so much length and so much quality shot making on the wing. When you can neutralize that, they don't really have a true point guard anymore because Drew Holiday and Derek White are both more 2s than they are 1s. I mean, I guess they can both play the combo guard position, but really they like to generate most of their offense through Brown and through Tatum. And when we can make life difficult on both of those guys, you see the offense bogged down, and that's when you see 25% shooting from 3 because they're not getting those catch and shoot 3s they were during the regular season. They're getting contested, tough, high degree of difficulty 3s or more, maybe not on every one. They did get a few open, but you're not going to be perfect every possession. So I think the point stands that the offensive process for the Celtics is very difficult right now. And we had a stretch where we got a stop 13 times in a row in that fourth quarter. Think about that. 13 straight stops. And Mikal was on the floor every second of that stretch. And so I think you have to attribute a lot of that to him. And that's how you make comebacks is string together stops. If you string together stops, the shots will fall and you'll get back in the game. And that's exactly what we saw. But 13 stops in a row that reminds me of the Knicks I grew up with. That's 90s Knicks, Pat Riley Knicks. That's what that reminds me of. And that's Mikal.
Yeah, man. In the beginning of the season, Mikal Bridges was my X factor. And all season,
Mine
he
too.
made me look like a fool. He was very, very frustrating to watch sometimes, just like Geoff said, especially the beginning of the year. But yeah, now all of a sudden in the playoffs, he turned into Scottie Pippen all of a sudden. And he looks like an all-star out there, man. Like he's been really, really clutch. Like Geoff said, after 3 quarters, it's almost like he flipped the switch. And I remember in the, his press conference, he said, or not press conference, post game, he said that he was, felt like he was letting his teammates down, wasn't making shots, and then all of a sudden it was like a light switch flipped, and he became Mikal Bridges, man. He looked like the #1 option when he was playing for Brooklyn in one stretch. So, yeah, he's been the X factor. Him and Mitch, like both of them, have been playing very, very well in their role, and yeah, that's both of them to me is a huge reason why we're 2-0.
What about the sentiment of some that we're overrating Mikal Bridges based on his last second plays in the fourth quarter, when through the first 3 quarters he really hasn't played that great, particularly in this last game
Mm-hmm.
offensively. And in the first game as well. I think State was one of them who said that on Twitter, but there have been others. Do you think just coming through in the fourth quarter and in the clutch is enough to forget about his play the other quarters?
No, I wouldn't say that, but let's just say it's good to. He's inconsistent, but at least when he turns it on and is in those clutch moments, like just like Jalen Brunson didn't have a good game in the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he scored 9 of his 17 points in the fourth quarter. Like you have to tip their hand of that. That's one of the reasons Boston has lost these last 2 games, because they haven't done that. Like that actually means something. Like I know the first 3 quarters, mean a lot too, but that fourth quarter is where you make your money. This is the playoffs. That 12-minute span is where you win a championship. Like clutch means clutch. Like clutch is a big thing for a reason. Say if he had the best 3 quarters of his life, and then had the worst fourth quarter and we lose. So yeah,
And he beat Tobias Harris.
yeah, right. That's exactly. So being clutch matters. It matters for Jalen Brunson. It matters for him. It matters for OG. It matters for everybody on the team. And that's the real reason we're 2-0, because we have seemed like we've had the clutch in these past 2 games, and Boston hasn't. Like they haven't been stepping up. Steph, you good?
Well, I mean, I'll move right along with it, but no, Mikal Bridges has to play, like he has to be more consistent throughout. And we squeaking by in those games, but if games 3 and 4, if he doesn't, like, he really needs to perform better, like, not disappear. And it's not that he disappears; he is doing what he's doing on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we need him to score. Like I said, there are 2 main things in winning basketball game, right? First, you gotta score the basket, and you have to prevent the other team from scoring the basket. You got to do both.
Right.
Or if you do one, you have to do one like great, like superbly better than the other in order for you to be productive. Jerrell, I told him that last week. I told him that was the basis of the plus minus. Everybody's like, no, that's not how it works. That is how it works. But they didn't believe that's, but he's got to do a little bit more on offense. Like his defensive play is great. It's awesome. But yeah, he's definitely got to be more aggressive and try to put the ball in there.
You could say that with both of our wings though.
Yes.
Bridges and OG, and OG had 5 and 5 last game.
Yeah.
That's not like him usually. They're both inconsistent on the offensive end, but as long as they're consistent on defense and everybody else play defense, then them being inconsistent on offense, it can it's doable in the playoffs. Like we have to lock in on D. It's more important.
Yep. I mean, man, when you look at the numbers, we had no business winning that game yesterday. We really
At
did
all.
at all. Like no,
Both games, not just the second one, the first game either.
yeah. And this is why, like, it's crazy
But
how we've had
I
terrible
disagree. I disagree. Go ahead.
It's
Queen.
just I
No,
get why you say that, but coming back down 20 in the playoffs is not an easy feat. It rarely happens, and I think it was the first time it happened 2 games in a row.
it's it's not just that. Listen, all our starters yesterday had a plus minus minus. You know that, right? Like
Right.
every one of them. The
Okay,
bench,
but plus minus is an overrated stat. Right? It's not. It's not a perfect stat. Plus
no.
it's
Well,
not. It's
Queen,
not.
let me tell you, it's overrated when you look at the individual. But when your whole team is plus minus minus, it's as a group, it means a lot. That means with the starting lineup on the floor, like we were getting outscored every time. Okay, but somehow we end up winning the game by a point because the bench came in. The 3 guys who played bench and Campaign only played a couple of minutes. So Mitch and Deuce had huge plus minus plus. They were on the positive side. And we squeak out that
Listen.
1-point game. So
Listen.
it's as a group, it's a big
Listen.
difference.
I'm not taking anything away from Deuce and
Mitch.
Mitch Robinson because it's a team game. I'm not taking anything away from them. But without our starters, we're not winning that game. I don't care what the plus. I don't care what the plus minus is. We're not winning the game without our starters. And this is one of the problems I'm having lately. It's all about stats. It's all about advanced stats. It's all about the plus minus. It's all about the on off. Yo, this is the playoffs. I'm not saying throw it out the window. You know, as a coach, you do have to look at those stats. They help inform your decisions. But it's really about what I like to call in the playoffs, it's a proverbial 4th and 1 over and over and over and over again. Who's making the shots? Who's getting the stops? And it's the Knicks. It's the Knicks. So you can say we had no business winning that game. Neither did Boston have any shouldn't have won that game either, and they didn't. They had a 12-point lead and they lost it. You know what I mean? So who's supposed to win the game? The team that's coming back from 20 or the team that's always, so you saying Boston should have won the game? Why should Boston have won the game? They didn't do enough to win that game. It's a 48-minute game. They played 25, 30, whatever, whatever they play. I mean, I get it. It's a hell of a feat. It doesn't happen often to come back from a 20 points down in 2 games. But it's the playoffs. It's not just about statistics. It's about manning up and taking it. And that's what the Knicks did. That's what the Knicks did. We made all the plays down the stretch. On defense, mind you. I mean, in terms of close, not like we hit the last second shot. 2 defensive plays closed that game out. Listen, we can't be up here sounding like the national media, where it's all about how Boston collapsed, and it's not about how the Knicks went out and took it.
I think it's just a story about how bad the collapse were. I think that's the reason why. And they're the defending champ, so it was shocking. But I'm glad it happened. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean,
glad it happened. Glad it happened.
For sure. And the way Boston is looking right now, and the way the Knicks are losing, we might close this out in 5.
I was hoping for. But I'm chilling.
All right, we're gonna do one more round before we get into, whether or not Game 3 is a must win. So we'll do we'll do another round of who and what stood out. Who do we talk about so far? We talked about Robinson. We talked about Bridges and
Hart.
Yeah, Hart.
Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to talk about Thibodeau? Do I want to talk about Towns? Or do I
You
want
can
to
do
talk
both.
about Brunson?
We do
Let's
also.
go with we can, but it's my turn. I'm trying to figure out. I'm going with Brunson,
Okay.
who
Jerrell's point guard.
did not right did not play his best game yesterday as far as scoring is concerned. I
Hmm.
felt like there was ample opportunity for him in that first quarter to get some shots up, but he was in the key, just giving up, not taking the shots that he usually takes. I don't know if he didn't want to force. Like I don't know what was going on. Maybe the ankle is a little. I'm not sure, but I didn't think he was his aggressive self in at least the first half. But never count this guy out. Never count this guy out. That basket over Drew Holiday to put us up one, and then
No.
wiggling through two defenders for the layup, and the two clutch free throws, and then catching the ball out of bounds, catching the ball before it went out. The clock would have ran out anyway, but he didn't know that. Just running that ball down and catching it in bounds. Just can't say enough about Jalen Brunson. And listen, if you want to win a championship, you got to have one of those. You got to have a Brunson on your team. It could go by a different name. It could be Shea Alexander. It could be the joke. Like you have to have somebody that you feel confident that if you're within reach, you have somebody that can close it out. Um, and that's what we have in Jalen Brunson. So just thoughts on how he's been throughout the season. Ajay, will start with you, then Jeff, then Jerrell. This series, I
So
mean.
say, what's the question, Queen? I'm sorry. I was reading something.
Brunson. How you
Just
feel
your
about
thoughts
Brunson?
on Brunson.
Oh well, I mean, he's been even in game two, where he didn't score a lot of point. He played well. He was he had a lot of gravity, very impactful. They had to pay attention to him, and he scored when it mattered. He didn't put up a whole lot of numbers,
Facts.
but the numbers he put up, like what you like to timely shots. He came in with those timely shots that got us back in the games,
Facts.
and that either took us over the hump. So, so far, a very good game from him. Nothing heroic, or not to put on the cape and come out and score like 10, 12 points in a row kind of thing. But he's just, again, he's done just enough to get us over the hump and get us those dubs. So, and I
Yeah.
expect, again, you still expect to get a couple of those great games from him this series. So stay tuned.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. I mean, if you listening to the Boston media, oh, we locking Brunson down, and we playing, great on Brunson, and we just haven't. We if we would have just hit one or two more shots, I'm just sitting there with my little mushroom coffee with the whipped cream on the top, going, yeah, 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 yeah. Jeff, your thoughts on Brunson?
Well, if you told me he was going to shoot 6 for 19 in a playoff game and we were going to win that game, I would have told you I had a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. But, credit to the Knicks and Jalen. Look, the Knicks have something that Boston doesn't. Somebody you can trust and rely on to make big shots in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum is a great player, all NBA player. He looked shook at the end of that game. He didn't know what to do. Jaylen Brown, same way. These guys, yes, they're NBA champions. I get it. But, even in their championship season, their efficiency wasn't very good. And so contrast that with Jalen. He doesn't have maybe as many games, but there's nobody come close to, like, he's outscored entire teams this playoffs in terms of fourth quarter scoring. Like, entire teams, his fourth quarter scoring is through the roof. It's incredible. And I don't think it's something that we've seen in the sport since Michael Jordan was playing. And if you're talking to the same brother, I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is Michael Jordan, but I'm saying that in terms of volume, clutch, fourth quarter shooting, there is nobody else in the game on Brunson's level right now. And that creates a level of trust. And in other words, and I guess the example I'll use is this. I'm the biggest PTSD, oh, the sky is falling Knick fan in the world. I admit that. But when Tatum scored that bucket, that dunk off the timeout on the sideline out of bounds, I wasn't worried because I knew Jalen Brunson was going to get the ball. And I had confidence that Jalen was going to score the ball. And I was a little bit surprised he went as early as he did. I kind of felt like maybe he left a little too much time on the clock for a comeback. But I think that's what the game said. He knew he saw that he had Holiday, who's a fantastic defender. He saw he had an opening, and you don't necessarily get a lot of those. So he took it, and he got hugged. And when he got hugged, he got fouled. And he got to the line. He needed both of them to put us in front. He makes both free throws, and then the defense does the rest. That to have a player of that magnitude is really, really impressive. And there's nobody else in the game right now, not Joker, not anybody else, who's doing it like Jalen Brunson is doing it. He's such a gifted offensive player. He has so much trust in the work that he puts in the offseason, and it carries over exactly into how he practices during the summer is how he plays when the stage gets the brightest. And that's a very, very rare trait, and not one that I've seen. So enjoy him, Knick fans. He's one of one. There's nobody quite like Brunson.
Did everyone comment on Brunson?
No, I didn't. But to be honest, I wasn't going to take that much time. Steph, you already know how I feel about Brunson. And just like you said, he was kind of pissing me off in the first three quarters, just because of the stuff that he was not taking, and even some of the shots that he did miss. There was stuff that he usually can make. So I wasn't really worried. And I do 100% agree with Geoff. Might have been one of those few people that at the end of the game when Tatum dunked the ball and we had 12 seconds left, I actually was not worried. Like I kind of figured that Jalen Brunson was going to score. To be honest, I was more worried about if they would have enough time on the other end, because he did go a little early. But yeah, I actually did not have, I wasn't nervous down the stretch just because of Brunson. And it's kind of crazy how you got to think about how we've looked at the Knicks these past few years. You've never had that feeling before until now.
Right.
Like he's the only player since when that you felt like at the end of the game, you're going to come through. I don't remember the last time I felt that way about this team.
Right. And then last night he showed it after having a bad game.
Yep.
Like usually we're used to him turning up and go ahead, Jerrell.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he went into the fourth quarter. He played going into the fourth quarter, I think he had played like 31 minutes and only had 8 points. Like that's not Jalen Brunson. It's not like he has to score that much. That's why we have the other guys on our team. They just have to be more consistent in scoring and helping him. But nobody would expect that he not be in double digits going into the fourth quarter. That's all.
Yeah. And last night, Bridges. I know we passed Bridges, man, but 14 points, all 14 points in that fourth quarter when both Towns and Brunson was on the bench. And when Brunson came back, he didn't take over immediately.
Right.
He deferred. When he came back, he just played within the flow of the game, passed the ball to Bridges at the top of the key because he was the one, he was the one cooking, but when it counted and he hit that shot over Drew Holiday, I said, look at this guy. He could go 0 for 18. Fourth quarter is his time. He's going to hit the key shot for us, with confidence, can't say a lot about enough about him and his defense in this series. And I keep referring to the show we did this morning. So if those who watch the show, if this is a repeat, I'm sorry. But in game one, when he was down in the post in the middle of the key with Horford, just how he was battling to to get in front of Horford so that he could get a direct pass. Now they probably could have still lobbed it to him, but he
Mhm.
was just down there fighting,
Yep.
and shout out to him for that. And then also shout out to, we haven't gotten to Cat, but him moving his feet when he's out on the island against against Tatum. Those are our two players who are, you know, they're not plus defenders, but they're making the commitment, more so Cat, the
Mhm.
commitment to do their part on, on the defensive, on the defensive end. Um, Brunson needs to be better in game three though. Um,
Mhm.
Thanks.
don't you think?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They're gonna throw the kitchen sink. I didn't know we was gonna talk about game three until the end, but yeah,
Yeah,
Boston is
we
gonna
all
throw
right. Well,
everything at us on game three.
yeah, all right. You're right, Jerrell. We'll save that. All right, one more quick go around. Then
Mhm.
we're gonna get into, is game three a must win, and what do we as a team, and what are we looking for individual players in game three? But one more go around. We covered
Queen,
Brunson. We covered
Queen,
Bridges,
hold on.
Hart.
We
Yes,
have super chat. You want to do that now or
yes. Can you
after
please?
that?
Yeah, no, you could do it now. Do it now.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Put that in there. Silk Sun. Shout out to Silk Sun. Hey, panel.
Mhm.
Thank you for the 499 super chat. Hey, I heard Porzingis' illness might be anemia. Did you hear anything on him?
Yeah, we was talking about that a little bit before the show. It's kind of weird. They don't know what it is with the type of medical attention that professional basketball players can have. For them not to know what's going on, and it's been going on for like 3 or 4 months, they said, it's kind of weird. So I'm pretty sure it's more, has to be something other than anemia, though. I would say it have to be something in conjunction of that. Like he might be anemic and something else, but like if he was just anemic, he wouldn't be, just fatigued just like that. That's fixable.
Yeah, Wendy Windhurst, I think they
Hmm.
call him
Ryan,
Wendy, said
Hmm.
he's, excuse me,
Yes,
Ryan
correct.
Windhorst.
Weinhorst. He said he spoke to Porzingis after the game, and Porzingis said this is something he's been dealing with for a good part of the season, I
Hmm.
believe. And what it does is it takes out his energy and his wind and he feels weak. Now he had rebounded for that, but in game one, out of nowhere, the fatigue seemed to have returned, and he's having a hard time, getting past it. And let me tell you, stress can exacerbate illnesses, and the Knicks are stressing them out. You know what I mean? You can have something in you, it's just like pneumonia, right? You feel like, or a cold, you feel like, oh, I'm over it. I'm feeling like I'm better, and then something stressful happened, and you have a relapse.
He's got
You
big
know,
Mitchitis. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, he got something going on. Something has exact because he said out of nowhere, this it just exacerbated the stress, the tightness of losing. You know. Anyway, I don't. As much as I want to win this series, I hope he gets better. I don't want anything to happen to him, just from a human element. But if he wants to take his sweet time recovering, I'm okay. I'm okay with that too. All right. Round two. Who's gonna lead us on off?
I'll go. What we doing?
Yeah. What else has stood out? Who else? Who are we
Oh,
talking about next?
let's talk about
Or
Tibbs.
what are we talking about next? Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
Thibodeau.
Tibbs. Tibbs is a coach that has outcoached a championship level coach in 2 games straight. I think he is. I don't know. It almost seemed like Joe Mazzulla looked like a fool sometimes with some of the stuff that he's saying. Like you said in the beginning of the show, Steph, like the reason that he's doing some of the stuff that he's doing doesn't really make sense. Especially some of the Mitch stuff, like he's treating him like he's Akeem Olajuwon. Um, but yeah, I don't get it, man. But he's definitely out coaching him so far this series, and he got us playing. Like the defense is looking a lot better. Yeah, Tibbs is for now. I guess fans, would get off his head for now, but we'll see what happens with the rest of the series. But yeah, this a part of this 2-0 stretch is because of Tibbs. A big part of it, I should say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not gonna call on Aj next because I don't think this is his favorite segment. We'll go with Geoff and let
Well, I like Thibodeau. I've not made a secret of that. I think that he brings a baseline standard of competence to the organization, which is very useful. And I think that his preparation in this series has been outstanding. I think that we were ready to go straight out of the box. I love the defensive adjustments that he made. I think he surprised Boston with how he decided to guard things. And I don't know that they've recovered yet. I'm not sure that they know how to deal with what we're doing, and maybe they don't have any great answers. And I think that he stole some things from the Orlando Magic series, and we don't have the same personnel that Orlando does, but that to me is a sign of good coaching. Hey, so this worked against them. Let's see if we can do it in a similar way with our guys, and so far it's been pretty successful. But as someone who's not a blame the coach guy when we lose, I don't want to go overboard on the credit when we win. Like as you're famous for saying, Queen, it's the players who play the game. The coach can have some impact, but Jalen Brunson is the one who hit that shot over Holiday. Mikal Bridges is the one who made the block. Those are the guys who are making the difference. Just like when we lose, it's not entirely Tibbs' fault either. Now, there are some cases where there are obvious mistakes or whatever, and if you want to get on that, that's fine. But I mean, Thibodeau's a top 5 in overall wins as a Knick coach, and he's rising the ranks as far as playoff wins too. I think with that winning game too, he has a winning record in the playoffs over the last 3 seasons, which is when Jalen got here. So, there's something to be said for that.
Well, Queen, you there?
You want me to go, Aj? You don't.
No, I
don't,
could go.
You don't have to contribute to this segment if you don't want
to.
No,
I want to.
He's gonna skim to the end.
I want to.
You sure your mic's still working? You good?
Testing 1 2.
Okay, you good.
No, so listen, Tibbs hasn't done anything egregious yet in the series. So.
That's how you started off.
so I have no problem with him. Listen, I don't hate Tibbs. I just say if he gets fired, I'm not gonna shed a tear. That's all I say. But he hasn't done anything to point to say that he's put us in any situation. The only thing, and Queen, I was watching game 1, and I think Tibbs froze up a little bit when they were doing the hack and Mitch. He didn't know what to do, but he really gathered himself and he threw Precious in there. I don't know if you guys remember. Precious played for about 4 or 5 minutes in there just to kind of throw Boston off their games with the hack and Mitch, and it worked. Like they really didn't know where to go while the other guys were cooking, making that comeback or whatever. So he froze up there for a few seconds, but then he caught himself and he got right. So he hasn't done anything to put the team in jeopardy. That's my problem with coaches. Coaches who put the team in bad situations, I have a problem with. And Tibbs so far has not done that this series. So I ain't got no beef for him right now.
Well, this is the backhanded, this is when you do backhanded compliments, but not only not only it's not even that he hasn't put them in jeopardy, he's put them in position to win. But first I want to answer your question about him freezing. He addressed that in the press conference. It wasn't a freeze. He said that when they're hacking Mitch, they're doing it because they want you to take him out the game. But you have to weigh that, him missing free throws, against what he's giving you on the other end of the court. His pick and roll defense, the things that don't even come out on the box score,
Yeah,
right? So it wasn't that, so it can't be like the first time they foul him, oh, let's take him out. That's playing into their hand. They're fouling him for a reason. Obviously when it got twice and three times, now when you tipping the scale in the other direction, okay, now we have to, take him out. But this is what I'll say about Thibodeau. Like I said, this out coaching thing, in my opinion, I do think is overrated, and a lot of times it's just based on whether or not the team wins. But Tom Thibodeau deciding not to do drop, deciding that you have to switch, deciding that we're not going to double team and we're not going to over rotate, if that we're just going to live with the outcome of the mismatches. I like that. Obviously, I said this morning, I'm not as versed in NBA offenses and defenses to say all of what he's doing, but I definitely noticed that more players are involved on the offensive end. It's not just Brunson going 1-on-5. I've noticed that, particularly in the first game. Brunson played a little bit off ball as well. I like to see, more of that as well, and how he's deploying Mitchell Robinson. You know, um, had is it's been great too. So I think Tom Thibodeau is more than not making mistakes, is putting the Knicks in position to win. And of course the players are executing. So, shout out to him. I'm not sure what adjustments Boston is going to make in game 3. And this is the thing, I think Tibbs is very good to start a season. He's very good game to game, and he's been pretty good with game in these 2 games. But let's see what happens. Boston is pretty much stuck to their guns. Oh, this is how we play. If we would have hit one more shot, we would have won. This is how we play. There's nothing to change. We just need to clean some things up. Fine. But if they make any major changes in game 3, it's going to be interesting to see how Tom Thibodeau responds to that. But at this point, he's been great. The minutes police, um, the Knicks starters are averaging like 568 minutes per game. But I tell you this, in the playoffs, they look like the more well-conditioned team. They are the sharper team down the stretch. They don't look like they're running out of gas and there's mental fatigue, and that's why they can't make a play. Here, Cleveland talking about nobody averaged 32 minutes a game. They talking about they ran out of gas. Like, anyway, the Knicks are mentally tough team, peaking, and a lot of that has to do with Tom Thibodeau. So great job up to this point. Let's see how he does and how the team does going forward.
Another
Jeff,
super chat.
who's up next? Another super chat. Go ahead.
I think we done. Everybody spoke about Tibbs, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So
You want to go again?
no.
Got him.
Shout out to Paris Duggan. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I don't want to hear about any illnesses or injuries after our luck last year. F that.
That's true.
Brunson knows how to pace himself in these series to win. Yeah,
He just put in another one, Parrish did.
That's part of the game. That's part of the game. Queen, there's a couple of comments. Can we? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. We have one more super chat though.
Yeah, Paris put up another one.
I
don't know if you see it.
My bad. Sorry. I don't like Tibbs' detail coaching, but Paris Duggar. Again, thank you for the contribution for the $5 super chat. He was masterful last night. That was his best game job. Bravo. Next, Cat's rebounding has been awesome.
Absolutely. Particularly last night. And
Queen, like, he made me eat my words too, because he didn't shoot threes last night, but he was fucking awesome. So
yeah.
Cat. So yeah, and I say I like Cat to take like 7, 8 threes a game in order for us to win. we squeaked one, but he didn't have a lot of threes. Cody,
Do you think? Well, we'll do that when we get to Cat. I have a question when we get to Cat. Let me write it down. Y'all know my condition. Go ahead.
just a couple of comments. Cody says, I'm riding with game 3 W until the fat lady sings. And that rightfully so, man, because the last 2 games we've been down by 20 and it wasn't over till it was over. You know, like you watching that game, you're like, man, we're
Right,
gonna be
that's
able to
true.
come back from this one. But then you know what? At the end of the game, at the end of the day, we come up with the dub. So I'm with you, Cody. Kevin Bergen says getting the Celtics out of the way is my main priority right now. As a fan, nothing else matters right now. Agreed.
Mm,
And hopefully,
agreed.
yeah, man, we gotta go into game 3 like big gangbusters, act like we're down 0-2. Especially we've
Jerrell
had,
said this morning, and I agree.
yeah, especially we've had a hard time getting wins at Madison Square Garden, in the playoffs. Shout out to Space Go says, I think game 3 will be when our bench finally shows up. I'm expecting Payne and Deuce to feed off the 6-man Garden crowd. And listen, Deuce is played better this series, so hopefully,
Yes.
you're looking for Payne. Payne really didn't have a good game yesterday. Like he didn't play a lot of minutes, but he was out there. It's almost like he wasn't even out there. You don't even remember, except for him
What did he
chucking.
do?
He chucked a
took a shot.
30-footer. Yeah, like really kind of messing up the flow of the game. Because Cat was on the floor with him. Like he should have been feeding Cat the ball every time, and he decided to take a really long 3. He bricked it. So Double D, do you see the Celtics making adjustments in game 3? Oh, okay. So this one I wanted us to address. Maybe driving to the cup more. Them trying to score more in the paint to balance their offense instead of shooting all 3-pointers. I don't think they're going to make that particular adjustment because that's not how they play. They're not going to all of a sudden start playing something different down 0-2 in the playoff. I don't think they're going to make that drastic an adjustment. And especially they're playing the team that's one of the worst team at defending the 3. And their mindset is going to be like, you know what, eventually the shot's going to start. They're going to start falling because they're very heavy 3-point shooting team. They're playing a team like the Knicks who don't defend the 3 well. They're not going to all of a sudden not, if they make this adjustment, this is when we got them right where we want them. Especially a Tibbs team that kind of really focus on defending the paint.
Right.
This is what you don't want to do if you're the Celtics.
Right.
So, I wanted to answer this because I really didn't want to type it. It was too much. That the last show I did Queen. I did that little breakdown thing, and shout out to Von Allen. Said he really liked it. Man, listen, you're not gonna be seeing too many of those. That little 3-minute joint took me all day to put that in. So that
and it was
ain't
stills.
happening.
It wasn't even video. It was
stills. It was just picture. Von Allen, thank you for the compliment, bro.
Welcome to content creation.
Yeah, but
that's what happens. Yeah.
That took me all day.
Yeah, that's how it usually works, bro.
So yeah, no, you ain't gonna be seeing that. So sorry about that.
No, I did like it. I would appreciate if you did. If you did more.
Queen,
But listen, you did like 3 plays. Maybe if you did 1, like for example, the last play of the game. Let's say if you just did 1.
I gotta figure out how to do it with video because if I could do it live instead of because I have to prepare it. If I could put the clips together and then talk about it instead of, doing the still shots and circle. Yeah. Oh my God, it took me all day.
But you know on when you go to NBA.com and you go to the box score, they're highlighted. So if you press that, you get the video. So for example, on Bridges' last shot, if you went to what with that? That wouldn't be a block. That would be considered a steal, right? If you press Bridges' steal, that shot would come up. The video for that shot would
that
come up.
particular, but the stuff I talked about, like they didn't like. It's like the little things that weren't highlighted. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was pointing out. So I had to literally had the, because I DVR most of those games, so I had to get that and then run it and run until I get the still frame that I was looking for. So,
but what I'm saying is, you could get the video. That's how you can get the video. It's free.
Yeah, and you won't get penalized for it here on YouTube.
Yeah, you might get
No. So what
copyright.
I do is I screen record it in StreamYard. I'll play it and record it again while it's playing. No, people use that all the time. You see people as long as you're talking over it, it's fine. Sometimes they do get a little funky because one time I did it, I didn't zoom it out, so I still had MSG in the corner, and they said I couldn't. They said I couldn't use it. So usually I'll zoom it out where it's the identifying information is not there. But
Right.
anyway,
Miguel P says our defense won that game. Definitely
Facts.
the last, Mikal Bridges defense at the end. Von Allen says, Steph, all 48 minutes, every possession matters. For me, through 8 games, Josh Hart has been the Knick that has been the most consistent player.
Yeah, I'm not arguing.
That's a good
Queen.
take.
All right, Queen, allow me to, right? I don't like to delete comments or put people in timeout or ban users. I prefer to highlight what they do.
But this is the thing.
I know you don't.
I don't like the highlight because when you highlight it, I feel like you've given them airplay.
No, but because I'd like to share with the chat like what I don't want to call it stupid or like what's not cool, I guess.
Okay, I mean, for instructional purposes, if you're doing it for
instructional purposes, so let's do that.
Okay, right. But I tend not to like to give.
No, well, maybe this.
It's up to you. Go ahead. It's up to you.
No, I'll do it. Shout out to Long Island Sound, right? He comes here, he or she comes here sometimes, and this is a three thing towards me, so I want to highlight them. And he said. That's when I was talking about the plus minus. He said 3 players are champ bred and it's blah, blah, blah. Stupid. Just say you never good at hoops. Okay. I don't know this person. This person don't know me. That's gibberish. That's how you know it's nonsense. Like you don't know me from Adam. I don't know you. For all I know, this could be like a chat bot. I don't know. But if you have to call somebody a name to make your point, that's because you don't have a point. Okay. I just want to point that out. Like people could talk in the chat. You could agree, disagree, do stuff. But if you have to resort to calling somebody names, that's because you don't have a valid point. That's why I wanted to point out. This is when we was talking about Tibbs. He said, I should have kept my mouth shut. I'm dumb ASF. We know what that means. Again, if you have to call somebody that's because you yourself, you're probably looking in the mirror, looking at yourself, and then you're saying this. Because if you have to say this to somebody you don't know from anywhere, you don't know me, I don't know you. If you have to say this, it's because you don't have nothing to say. Last but not least, back-to-back playoff 50 wins, fire Tibbs. I don't know who said fire Tibbs. It wasn't me, but I'm assuming he's assuming. That's what I'm saying. Idiot talking. Chat, I wanted to point out, like, we all Knicks fans here, we enjoying this, we loving this. Queen, I won't be highlighting these stupidities. I just wanted to point this out to show the chat, to expose some of these people's stupidities. Just, that's something I do, I guess. I do that at work too. All right. And I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's something I used to do. But I just feel like you just giving them airplay. You're just giving them the airplay.
Well, sometimes you have to expose them because otherwise they think it's okay, but it's not okay.
Well, what I've been doing is just putting them in timeout without even saying anything, putting them in timeout. And if it continues to go on, just banning them, blocking them from the show. We're trying to create a community where if you disagree, you disagree. And you don't even have to be gentle about it. Like you could be like, yo, what are you talking about? Did you see Steph? What are you talking about? Did you watch the game? Did you see A, B, C, and D? I think this totally fine. You don't even have to come soft. But you can't be like you stupid and you don't understand the game, you asshole. Like that's just not gonna fly
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
community. It's just
and
not gonna fly.
no, I'm with you, Queen. It's that shows you the limit. Like that person's limited. Like there's not much they can do or say or contribute to this. And feel free, if this panel or anybody on this panel is too stupid for you, stay away from this panel. There's like a million other shows you could go to. You don't have to come here. You don't,
Right.
and you could come here when Queen and Geoff are here. You don't have to come here when I'm here. Don't aggravate yourself. Stay away from when I'm part of the panel. They just check out another show. Shout out to Run Still Knicks fan. He had a show earlier. Go be part of the go check that show out. He just finished it. I'm not on that panel, so you can go there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and
I mean,
I be on Run sometimes though. Very, very. I be showing up there. So.
He would go over there and
I'm going there and mess it up for him. Queen, I'll be on more NBK show. That way, Long Island sound just like you're gonna have to go somewhere else, buddy.
yeah. Listen, I don't quite get it. Even in the comments, not here, but even the replay game, like people will stop by and leave a negative comment. I'm like, wow, I need to get a life. Because if you have that much time and your life must be on point, that you have time to drop by a YouTube video and leave a negative comment. Like, I gotta level up in life. You know what I mean? I don't have that type of time.
I don't get it. I don't
Anyway,
understand the negative. I don't understand the personal attacks when we're talking about the Knicks. It's just like so limited. It just makes no sense to me.
yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the show because
Y'all better
most
than
of the
me.
people, most of the people in this community is on point, and it's all right to disagree with us and put it in the chat. It's fine. You don't even have to come soft about it. Just don't be disrespectful. Anyway, we talked about Thibodeau. Who's left? I think Cat is left, and then we can move on to.
We got Cat and OG.
Yeah. All right.
Gee.
Yeah. Let's do Cat and OG, and then let's move on to is Game 3 a must win. This is the segment that's sponsored by David Smith in the
Yes,
in the chat.
you know, Cat.
Let's go with Cat. Whoever wants to start is fine.
I'll start real quick because I'm probably not gonna be that long. Cat is very talented. The only time he gets frustrating is when he doesn't show his talent like he should, like in Game 1.
Mhm.
But in Game 2, as long as he's assertive and he moves his feet on defense, like you said earlier in the show, yeah, Cat is. I have no complaints about Cat. Like he's been balling, he's been engaged, especially Game 2. Yeah, I have nothing negative to say about Cat in Game 2 at all. Like he 17 rebounds, moving his feet. He was actually showing some defensive prowess a little bit. Yeah, like Cat. Yeah, Cat was he was a big cat in Game 2. We just got to keep that same energy throughout the series. Like he can't disappear on offense sometimes because we really need him for offense. Like he's an offensive player. So
yeah. And in the second half, he well, I don't know. I have to watch it again. Did he stop making himself available? Was it just that the game didn't flow to him? But he definitely kept us in that game in the first quarter, probably first half. But in the third and fourth quarters, not so much. But it could have just been that we went away from him. Anybody else on Cat?
Queen, my thing with Cat is I already mentioned earlier. Like he made me eat my words because I always say Cat's got to take more threes. He's got to shoot more threes. Yesterday he took one. He missed it, and he just went in like he was big body in him inside and getting pretty much whatever he wanted. He was a beast on the boards, and he had a few putbacks. They had no answer for him down low, and he just played most of the game like in the paint. He had a couple of mid-range, or a couple of nice mid-range, swish a couple of them, but like he didn't have the three ball yesterday, and I'm okay with that because he ended up with 21 points. Like I think he had like 17 rebounds or something like that. So it was a huge game yesterday. So,
Yeah, this is the go ahead, Jeff.
I think that was the first 21-17 game a Nick has had since Patrick Ewing
Nice.
in the postseason. Like legitimately. Like so big ups to Cat. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. What was your point?
I was just gonna ask Ajay the question that I wrote down. Do you think Cat should shoot threes regardless of the game situation, or do you think this game, this team lends itself to him playing more down low?
no, I think it depends on the game. I still would like to see him take more threes because it causes more of a challenge for the other team on defense because they know. I think it's harder to defend when you don't when you know like he has more in his arsenal, right? If there's a game like he's hitting like 3-4 from three, that kind of opens up the game a little bit because somebody has to be out there checking him. Like, you know, I just think it gives us more options. So it's not regardless to the game. Obviously, it's the game tells you what to do. They say that all the time, but I would. Like in the back of his mind, I'd like that to be the plan. Listen, if you're wide open, the pick and pop, we didn't use that at all. Like that's a weapon. We can be successful if we do that with Cat and Brunson. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking about strategy, man. None of them can hold him in the post. None of them. Um,
Well,
Even Horford struggling and he's long in the
and
tooth now, but he's generally considered a good defender. He can't hold nobody can hold him down there. So do you think that you probably letting him off a hook a little bit? Because I see both sides. I see that, you want to take advantage of his entire skill set, but then where do we have the advantage in this particular series against this particular team? And it might just be in the post. And listen, Ajay, they pushing him out to the 3-point line anyway. When he starts at the post, he end up at the 3-point line. So if he want to take a three, he can't
right,
take one.
That's funny.
no, and that's true. But Queen, and the last series, it's weird that like I felt like against Detroit, they really didn't have anybody who could check him either. Except maybe Jalen Duran. Like I had a problem with Tobias Harris giving him so much trouble. I still don't get it.
Well, you got to think about it. It's not that many people in the league, period, that could play Cat.
Yeah, and
He's an all-star starter for a reason. Like Cat is arguably the best offensive center in the league, not named yet. The joke. Yeah. So,
and Jerrell, to think that Tobias Harris, who's not like a top 20 defender in the league, like was able to give him so much trouble. That's what like kind of really annoys me.
That's on him.
So
Cat is better than Tobias Harris. He can score on him. It just is what it is, man. That's why Cat is so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, because
he can. I don't think it's a player on this planet that can stop him from scoring.
Yeah,
he's a level scorer. There's not that many centers that can say that.
Yeah, and I do think at some point in this series he's gonna have a game where he has like 4 or 5 threes.
Of course.
So
it might not be this series though. Not the way Boston is playing him. It seem like they seem like they handcuffed to him when he had the 3-point line. Like they don't come off of him at all when he's on the top of the key.
And you don't want him forcing it.
Right. I don't want him forcing
it. Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. It's not a lot of transition. It's not a lot of transition buckets either. So I know against Detroit they was hitting them in transition, like the delayed transition, but I don't even know if that's open. I don't know if Cat shooting threes works in our favor. I don't know. I don't know. But I will tell you this, as well as he plays, there are times when I'm frustrated with Cat. I'm not taking anything away from him in terms of his talent. I'm fine with Cat shooting a 3-ball. I'm fine with Cat playing on all 3 levels. There's some people that just want to bury him in the post. Why would you take somebody who's as talented as he is, who can play on all 3 levels, and take that aspect of his game away and say, no, I just need you to play down in the post? Like, who does that? You
Right.
know, kudos to Thibodeau because I thought that's what Tibbs was gonna do, like bring Cat in here and try to make him somebody he's not. No, that's his game. You have to create an offense that takes advantage of all of his skill set. That being said, there are some series and some games where you want to accentuate or focus on one part of their game over another. And Detroit's playing Tobias Harris, you out there shooting 3 point. No, we need you taking advantage, of that matchup. And you can argue the same thing, um, against Boston. The thing that frustrates me with Cat sometimes is, first of all, I don't like the fact that he gets pushed off his position. And I think that's just, is it his center of gravity? He doesn't get down low enough to maintain his position. Is it just that he doesn't have the lower body strength, but he can get pushed? He started at the post and ended up at the 3 point. You're at the 3 point line. Now, kudos to him. He turned toward the baseline, drove the baseline, and still got the layup, over Horford, even though Horford pushed him out. But you know, kudos to Cat, man. Particularly, his commitment on defense. Anything else on Cat, Jeff? You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to talk about him for just a minute. I actually think that he's only had 2 3-point attempts this series, and I think that's too low. I'm not saying he needs to jack up 10 a game, but I think you need to shoot enough to keep the defense honest. And I think it's incumbent upon the Knicks players to get him those attempts, run some screens for him, run some pick and pop, where he just doesn't have to worry about the defender. He can just catch and launch. Like I think that create those opportunities for him because that helps him. It makes the game easier for him because of all of a sudden, if he makes 3 or 4 threes, then that makes the defense have to react even further to that. If he's only shooting 1 a game and he hasn't made 1 yet, then that's not he's still a threat, but it's not as superior a threat. And so to me, I think that we need to find ways to get him more opportunities, more looks from 3. And the only part of Cat's game that frustrates me is he loves to get the ball at the top, and then he makes that strong, hard dribble drive move that has him careening into the second row. And if that shot misses, it's a 5-on-4 the other way. That is the only frustration really on the offensive end that I have. But I think it's series dependent too, because Boston really has a lot of players that can keep him from using his dribble to that effect. And like he killed Detroit doing that. But I don't think he can do that against this Boston team. And so, he's not going to get a good whistle. He's got to get over that. Like it's the playoffs. He always gets a bad whistle anyway. It's kind of like with Randall. I think you just have to you just have to live with that. And look, maybe they are taking the pick and pop away, but there are other ways to create those opportunities. You can set backside screens that can get them open. There are other things that you can do. If you want to get Cat an open 3, there are ways that you can do that. And he's such a good shooter, 40% shooter. You've got to find somewhere a shot diet for him. Maybe not 10, but you got to get him 3, 4, 5 of those looks a game. Points are at a premium. That's one of our best, most effective weapons. Utilize it. And the fact of the matter is he's 7 foot tall. Even if he does have the other guy on him, he should be able to shoot over them when a smaller guy is on him. So to me, like, let's maximize our offense and our talent on offense. I feel like, and the shot disparity between Brunson and Cat wasn't very big in game 2. I think Brunson shot 19 times and Cat shot 16 times. To me, for the Knicks to be at their best on offense, Towns has to shoot at least 18 times a game, minimum. And if it's over the closer it is to 25, the better. And the reason I say that is he very rarely is going to have a game where he's 6 of 19 or 8 of 22. He doesn't have a lot of those games. He's very efficient. He's a 50, 40, 80 guy. And the more touches that he gets, if he can, especially if they're hacking Mitch, maybe that gets Towns to the foul line a little bit more. You know what I mean? If they get in the penalty, the two bigs have worked together well also all series long, especially on offense. And so to me, I just think that Towns is still an untapped weapon in this series, and I think if we'll kind of focus on that a little bit more, I think that's an advantage that we haven't fully exploited in the series, and that we can exploit more. And I just think that he's a weapon, and I don't think we've used him enough, to be honest with you, and especially. And I think part of it is his personality. He's kind of a guy who's not going to insert his will on a game necessarily, right? He's very much in the Tibbs philosophy of let the game come to me, whatever comes, whatever the game says, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not necessarily going to dominate the ball right away or whatever. And in fact, the one time, ironically, that he did it in the series was, in my opinion, was the second half of game 1. And it was to bad effect because he was making poor decisions and he was trying to force the ball. So we don't want to do that either. But I think it's incumbent upon Brunson as the leader of our offense to organize our puppies in a way that it gets Cat some better looks.
Yeah, he was in foul trouble in game 1, and I have to look at the game again. I have a flight tomorrow. Maybe I'll look at it tomorrow. What happened in the second half. I just feel like we also have to keep in mind that teams are doing their best to take certain things away. And it's important to read that and not force it. So I think, we have to ask ourselves, did he get the shots that he got because he was open and the Knicks didn't go to him because he had the advantage and the Knicks, was going away from him? Or was there other things going on in the game, which is the reason why he didn't get those shots? Every game is different. And I agree with you. Theoretically, when you think about his 3-point shooting and how well he shoots it, we should, take advantage of that. But I don't know about running him off screen. Like, I don't think it's that important that we gotta run him off screens, call out plays to run him off screens like Steph Curry to get a 3. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's at that level because he's not our own. It's not like we're living and dying with Cat 3s is what I'm trying to say. But I agree with you overall. He's shooting a good percentage, and if we can get him those looks, we should. I don't know about calling out plays, to do it, but we'll see. We will see. Ajay, did you speak on you spoke on Towns already?
Yes.
All right, let's move on to OG before we get to is game 3 a must.
Want me to start it off with OG, or you just doesn't matter?
I'm sorry.
Before OG, man, y'all need to hit the like button.
I can't hear y'all. Let me go out and come back.
Okay,
and come back in because I can't hear y'all.
116 people on YouTube, 32 on X, but on YouTube, man, y'all need to hit the like button. Geoff, Jerrell, I don't know if y'all hit the like button.
I did
before I walked in the door, Ajay.
I did.
Nice. Only 70 likes, man.
Every time.
I did.
Let's get that to 100. Only 70 likes. Come on, man. Let's give it the thumbs up. Everybody's happy. The Knicks are winning. We up 2-0. Hit the button.
I actually do have that problem, but I did hit the button. Actually, I did.
Good. You're
man.
As I'm telling people to hit the button, I hit it.
No, it'd be like that sometimes. It'd be like that. Steph, you good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. So you want to start off with, OG?
Oh, go ahead. It doesn't matter. You can.
Well, I'll be quick. I can be quick. Well, OG is just the same as him in the regular season. I think OG is one of the best two-way players in the league. If he's consistent on offense. Sometimes he's just inconsistent on offense. He doesn't be that assertive. But game 2, I think he just had an off game. He had 5 points. That's not normal for OG. But I don't expect him to have no 30-point games either. Somewhere in the middle. And as long as he, hits timely stuff, I don't really, care about how much he averages or anything like that. But I think OG will be fine. I think sometimes you just have spells like that from game to game to be inconsistent on offense. Like next game he might have 25 points. The next game he might have 13. Next game after that he might have 6. Then he might go up to like damn near 30 again. So that's just his game. He's always been like that. I don't think anything has changed.
What is my audio keep cutting out? I just don't get it.
I don't know. I think with OG, it's that he's not really a guy who creates his own shot off the bounce very well. And so I think a lot of times it's just dependent upon what's going on with his teammates and how, how they're utilizing him really, because he's great in transition. He's great on back cuts and screens, and he's a very good corner 3-point shooter. But if you're, I don't think he's necessarily in his bag if you're just giving him the ball and saying, go to work, OG. And in the playoffs, especially when you're dependent upon other players, you're not going to be as consistent because you may not get the ball in those scoring positions for yourself. But he's great in transition. And look, he's phenomenal. And the job that he's doing defensively on Tatum is otherworldly. He's just like a blanket, man. He's just wrapped all over him. And those low shooting percentages, you can say all you want, that's not an accident. And the fact that, and I know we've covered it already, but the fact that Mitch was beat, he comes in, picks up Tatum, it prevents him from getting to the rim.
Yep.
Mitch switches, and then because OG is the primary defender now, Tatum's got to rush the shot, and then Bridges is able to come up from behind and get the block and seal the win. That's as good a team defense as you're going to get. It's just phenomenal. And I think what's happening too is with the heavy switching that we're doing, instead of just the drop coverage, I think it allows both Bridges and Anunoby to be better help defenders, because they're able to see everything in front of them. And so before we were kind of like chasing the rabbit, you know what I mean? And we were always in rotation. And if you get in rotation against Boston, they absolutely just crush you with wide open threes. I haven't seen a ton of possessions where we've been in rotation and it's caused us to give up a wide open three. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that we haven't given up open threes. We have, but not the same way we were doing in the first 3 matchups during the regular season, where it seemed like every other play it was just boom, boom, boom. The ball moves, easy 3-pointer for X, Y, and Z. They're still putting up their 3-point shots. They're different degree of difficulty shots, and that's why you're seeing the percentage go from about 60 down to about 25. Both of them are statistical anomalies, in my opinion. I think they're better shooters than what they've shot, but I think it matters the type of threes that they're getting, and I think a lot of that credit has to do with the Knicks defense. We'll find out when we come back home if that's true or not. But I think the Knicks D has had a lot to do with their percentages, and a lot of that hangs on OG because he's just tough. He's strong. Tatum can't get to his spots against Anunoby, and he can switch on to Brown. He can, and do an equally good job. He's a problem defensively for that Boston team right now. And I think it helps when he's on the floor with Mitchell Robinson as well. I think those two really make it tough, because those two with Mikal, that's a lot of length. That's a lot of toughness. And it's just a good combination.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys talk about the dunk while I was away?
Nah, but it didn't count. So that's the only reason I didn't bring it up. It would have been one of the best highlights in Knicks history if it counted.
You said in history.
History.
Yeah, you think it would have been right up there with that dunk, the Starks dunk? I don't know. Probably because the Starks dunk was Michael Jordan was in the picture, right?
Yeah, and it's below the Starks dunk, but it would have been up there though.
Yeah. OG, shout out to David Smith who said OG has been a game changer. And he really has been. Him and Bridges, this is the wing stop we've been imagining and talking about, when we first got them. A lot of things similar to Mitchell Robinson. There's a lot of things that OG does that doesn't show up in the box score. Like you gotta do like an AJ breakdown in order to see what OG is doing on some of those plays. To see what he's doing on some of those plays. Like on that last play where Missoula wanted to run the same play that sprung um, Tatum for that dunk. If you could see OG and Mitch on Horford, like you not getting through here to set that, to set that screen. Like OG was like tussling,
Right.
tussling with him. Like, no, you're not gonna get up there and set that screen. Just the little things he does. Um, Also preventing touches, right? We talk about the things he does on the catch once they get the ball, but a lot of time he denies them. They don't even get as many touches as they could get because he's just fighting possession after possession after possession. And I know we're getting greedy. We want like 15 points on the offense too, right?
Right.
But he's putting out a lot of energy, on the defensive end. So, shout out to him. Actually, all right. Anything
Queen,
else before? Go ahead.
Left. Go.
just so you know, Queen, I didn't want to
Oh, I
interrupt you, but
can't now. I can't
so
hear you
Right.
guys.
so your mic, it
Hold on.
was
Hold on.
speeding up.
She can't hear you.
She can't.
She just said she can't hear us again. That's why I was gonna tell her to go out and come back in. She out there sound like Ving Rhames.
Like, and then it's switching. Like it
And
goes
then it's
deep,
switching.
it goes low and high. It's like that's funny.
Oh man.
She go chipmunk then Ving Rhames.
Right.
Chipmunk.
Steph, you good? You hear us?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, go back out and go in because like your voice goes
It's
from
speeding
high
up
to
and
low.
slowing down.
some
Speeding up
reason.
like it's.
It didn't do that
It-
before. I
it
don't know
goes.
why it's just started doing that.
Okay. I will do that.
See, it just did it again. Yeah, okay.
I will do that.
Yeah. That's what it sound like. Yeah, okay. You want breakfast?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I want breakfast.
Yeah. I want breakfast. But to continue with OG, man, guys, nobody's giving credit. So Jason Tatum in game 1 shot 7 for 23.
He's been a beast,
In
man.
game 2, 5 for 19.
Mm.
This ain't how Tatum's having a bad series, but maybe it has something to do with OG Anunoby. Not just OG, but when they switch on him too.
Yep.
Like whoever else is checking him. At times it's Mitch, at times it's Cat, but I think that has something to do with the defense they putting on him. So,
Steph, you good? You back?
Yeah, I'm good. How I'm sounding now?
Sound better? You good?
All right. Let's get into game 3.
Mhm.
If we think game 3 is a must win, and I think some of y'all might be convincing me because I'm thinking that as long as we get one of the two, we'll be fine. How's my audio is still good?
Yeah,
good.
you
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Okay. I'm thinking if we get one of the two at home, we're gonna be good. And a lot of Knick fans are saying, nah, we gotta get game 3. Like we gotta really put the chokehold on. Game 3 is a must win.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that? Is it a must win or just try to get 1 out of 2?
Okay, you want to go first, AJ?
I could go first. Real quick, Queen, but they both could be true. Like what you're saying and what they're saying, they both true. Like the Knicks, I'd be perfectly happy with one of the two. I just want that one to be game 3, not game 4. Because it changes the dynamics. If you win, if Boston wins game 3, like it gives them like they feel they back in the series, right? Because now they only down 1 game, they just got to win the next one. But if Boston's down 3 games, like that game 4 is just you're fighting off the embarrassment of not being swept. It's really your last ditch effort to not get swept. You're not thinking of winning that series anymore at that point. At that point, you're cooked. You're done. At least that's the way I see it. So if we win game 3, we're in position to win. Maybe not sweep them, but we're in very good position to either beat them that game 5 at home or game 6 over here. We win game 3, we're winning the series. That's the way I see it, at least. And it has nothing to do with historically, teams never come back down 0-3. It's just that, the psyche of it, mentally, if you're down 0-3, man, you're just not coming back. Mm-hmm. And if you're the Knicks too, you up 3, you're going to try to put your foot on their neck and wrap this thing up, wait for the next series. So that's why I'd like it to be game 3.
Geoff, you go there? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
I think game 3 is the most important game of the season.
Wow.
I think it's huge. I think it's everything. I think whoever wins game 3 has a good chance to win the series, whether it's Boston or us. Like usually game 3 is a pivotal thing, man. And even though we won, like we only wanted the, we thought the best case scenario was just to steal one in Boston. And we stole both of them. That does not mean, have to half-ass game 3. I think you treat game 3 like a game 7. That's just my feeling about it. I think it's a must-win. I think it, like with the crowd, how juiced up the fans are. If Boston goes into MSG and wins, that would be a huge hit to us, I think. But we'll see. Win or lose, I'm gonna still go, be on our side and think we're gonna win the series now that we're up 2-0. But I think winning game 3 is pivotal. More important than winning game 4, but I would like to win all of them, but game 3 is a must for me.
Yep.
Do you think it's because we're giving them life and yeah, do you think it's because of that? If they win game 3, now they're more confident. I'm still sounding like
yeah, he went back for some reason. Yeah, but I see what you meant. Do I think they're giving them a little bit of both, like not just giving them life, it's about them and us. Like for the way that our crowd is now, or our fans, I should say, and how I think MSG is going to sound, if they go in there and beat us on a high like that, I think that's damaging for us too. It's not just them being on a high. But I still have confidence in us whether we win or lose for game 4, but I would definitely want game 3. I think game 3 should be treated like a game 7. I think they're going to treat game 3 like a game 7 too. So we have to match that. Like they're not going to, in their eyes, they can't lose that game. So I think we have to match their energy, because if we don't, we're going to lose.
yeah, how I'm sounding now.
You good?
They're gonna definitely be the more
It's switchback. It's switchback.
desperate. All right, whoever's next.
It's all right. It's all right, Queen. We can,
Yeah, I can actually take it. I don't care. You just gonna sound a little funny when you hear it.
It's funny. It's funny as hell.
But we hear everything you're saying. Right.
No, the next person go. Let me try to see what I could do.
Well, I think this is incredibly important because, well, first of all, the odd number games in a series are always the most important. 1, 3, 5, and 7. It's good to win the even numbered ones, but those odd numbered ones tend to be the swing ones for whatever reason. But, there's blood in the water, guys. Be sharks and eviscerate these clowns. Like, I think, yes, they're going to come out with desperation, but I think if you can have them come out with the desperation and you punch them in the mouth and you beat them anyway, I think that would be hugely demoralizing for them to say, like, we came with everything we had and we still didn't have enough. This was a team we beat 4 times in the regular season, and all of a sudden the script has been flipped and we don't have any answers. That's the way you have to do it. You lose game 3, you give them life, and then you feed into the narrative, oh, well, we just beat ourselves in those first 2 games. We're fine, right? We just got to get this next one, and then we're back to having home court advantage. So if you win game 3, it does a couple things. First of all, it guarantees at least the Knicks are going 7, worst case scenario, right? So that's massive in and of itself. So because that pushes that domino over, and it's done. Like, we're definitely getting 3 home games in this series, and there's nothing that the Celtics can do to stop that, right? So let's not play with our food, as Cody said. This team has been famous for playing with their food for a long time now, and it's been very frustrating. I want to see a better effort from pillar to post. I don't want to see another 20-point deficit, and it'd be nice to not have to sweat and call the cardiologist in one of these games. Like, can we get a game where we blow out the other team? Like, I don't remember the last. It's just not in the cards, I know, but it sure would help me personally if we could just, put the AED aside for a game and just leave it in the cabinet and worry about it another day. I know that's not this team's DNA. I know everything's got to be a fist fight in the backyard with, brass knuckles and the whole bit. But no, I think game 3 is vitally important, because you send a message, you give yourself the best opportunity to play. Because are the Celtics capable of beating us 4 in a row? Sure they are. But that means they have to beat us 4 in a row. Right. And sometimes when there's that pressure, and I think what we've seen is the more pressure that is applied to this Boston team, the more cracks in their armor we're starting to see. I think you're seeing that in the fourth quarter of these games. The game 1 and game 2, you started to see cracks in their armor. And I think if we can just continue to hit and punish and gain confidence, and with every big shot that Brunson makes, I think it makes them a little weaker. It makes them a little tighter. And so, look, you get them knocked out. You don't want to give a team new life, because sometimes one game is the difference. It can change the entire complexion of a series. I remember being up 2-0 against Chicago, and some idiot wrote a story about Michael Jordan having a gambling problem, and they stole the next 4, right? Just the next 2, the next 4. Well, we're coming home. Let's take care of our home court. Let's take care of business, and let's stomp these bozos into the ground. Because I'll tell you what, this is the best team that Boston has faced in the playoffs in the last 2 years. They got the most favorable opponents you will ever see on a finals run last year. You don't believe me? Look it up.
Right.
The highest seed that they played was Cleveland. The highest seed that they played was Cleveland. So this team is raw and ready to be upset, but we have to take it to them the way that we have in these fourth quarters. We need to keep pushing forward and keep the pressure on them. And the more we keep them in that pressure cooker, I think the better off we're going to be. They're going to fall apart like a roast.
Yeah. How am I sounding now?
Good.
All right. Yeah, great points, Geoff. Okay, all right. I mean, I get it now. I get it. I'm thinking.
You got to be more greedy, Steph. I think that's what.
Yeah.
You got to believe we can win game 3.
No, I believe we can win game 3, but I'm kind of buying into what you all are saying in the terms of, like, game 3 is a must win to put a stranglehold on this series. From what I'm understanding from you 3 in the chat, to, like, don't give them any life. They could definitely win 4 straight. They are going to be the more desperate team. Yep. And so they're going to have the emotional edge. The more desperate team definitely has the more emotional edge over a team that's trying to, get more. For them, they're trying not to be eliminated. But this is the thing, though. the Knicks are a really good team. You know, I'm not sure Boston. Even if the Knicks lose, I don't think the Boston can win 4 straight. I just don't. I just feel like the Knicks are growing up before our eyes, and I think the Boston is good. I'm not taking, or even great. I'm not taking anything away from them. I just think the Knicks are a better team. I think even if the Knicks lose tomorrow, I still think we win this series. But obviously, winning tomorrow just puts a stranglehold um, on it. David G said we can't sleep. Celtics are the best road team in the NBA. Kevin Bergen, I need all hands on deck. Keep it close and then run away from them in the fourth.
Yep.
Yep.
Knicks are the best road team in the NBA, by the way. 5-0 in the playoffs, the games that matter.
Especially in the playoffs.
Okay. I'm pretty sure he was talking about the regular.
I know, but I'm just saying.
David Smith, no team has ever come back from 3-0 in NBA history.
That doesn't mean no team ever will.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Not a stat. That's what happened. Or it hasn't happened, but that's not we can't go by that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So what I'm hearing from the chat, Game 3 is a must-win. What I'm hearing from the panel, Game 3 is a must-win. Jeff, I missed what you said. You said it was a must-win also?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Jeff said it was a must. Because you know, Jeff, it's gonna go 7. They're a really good team. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. You know,
we could be down by 1 point at halftime. Like, man,
You know,
good.
He's about you know my PTSD.
Yep.
I know what's gonna happen.
Yep. Hey, if we could be down by 1 at halftime, it's not looking good. I don't know if we can do it.
No.
Like, damn,
No, Jerrell, it's stronger than that. I don't know if we can do it. The series is over, not the game. The series is over. We down by 3 points in Game 1. The series is over.
So we can't beat this team. It's over. Hey man, look what the Knicks do to us, though, man. That is PTSD. Like they did that to him. You know what I'm saying? It's not the other way around. They did that to him. He's from past experience. That's how he acts. It makes sense.
Okay, Jeff, but we just need you to hold it together. Wait for at least the fourth quarter before you start falling apart.
Sometimes I can't even look at the phone. I was like, man, Jeff just got me down right now.
Exactly.
I don't feel good about myself right now. I can't put the phone down.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. I'm like, all right, let me mute the chat now.
I'm chilling. Watch this game, especially when we down 20. Oh
my God.
I don't look at my phone when we down like that bad. I don't want to hear. I don't want to see nothing. I don't look at Twitter. I don't look at nothing. I just put my phone down when we down like that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: the talent disparity, if you will. Well, let me ask it a different way. At this point, not necessarily regular season, at this point right now, what's the gap as a team between the Knicks and Boston? Including talent, including chemistry, coaching, all together. Where do you think the gap was coming into the playoffs, and has the Knicks? How much do you think the Knicks have closed that gap? Ajay, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I think that when they made those trades in the offseason, it's really to match what Boston has. Obviously, pound for pound, it's kind of tough to judge. I mean, right now you probably think, it looks like Boston have more talent than we do. But then you also have the fact that they've been playing so long together for so long that it enhances what they can do more so than our situation. Remember, these guys are playing together for the first time at the NBA level, So you really, it's probably best to compare this like in another after a couple of seasons together, see where this Knicks team can take you. You know what I'm saying? But we matched with them, in the so far in the playoffs we have. In the regular season, though, it seems like, we missed the mark, because they wiped the floor with us every time they play, except for the last game. It seems like they were like so much better, but listen, it's the same team, the same guys, Queen, the same amount of talent. Is just that by this time, right now in the season, those guys, they're a little bit more used to playing with each other. So it's, it's the same talent gap. It's just that this team is coming along a little bit better now. The Knicks team. So the chemistry is building. So, and by next season, it's probably be even better, or be closer, I should say, to them.
All right. Shout out to Sports Guru. Celtics talent is overrated. I'm kind of leaning towards you a little bit, Sports Guru. But Jerrell and then Geoff, just in terms of the talent, the difference between the teams coming into the playoffs and where you think it's at now.
Difference between the teams. Well, Boston is more injured than we are right now, which is a good thing for us. So I don't know. I don't want to put that into it because you're talking about just talent and skill and stuff. Like KP and Drew Holiday not playing like themselves. It's kind of hard for me to put that out of my head because of how talented they are. Like, they're not playing like themselves. So I think that's a major difference. And the way that we've been playing, like Ajay said, chemistry really does matter. Like, this team hasn't been together for a year yet. So that makes me think when we do move forward and we play more, this team is going to be devastating, especially if we get a bench. Like, we actually could get more talented. Like, our starting five is arguably one of the best starting fives in the league. Our problem is, production coming off the bench. We need to get more talented when it comes to that. They might have us there, but from like a starting five perspective, the talent is pretty much equal. They just have, their talent really comes from their two, top five picks in Tatum and Brown. But after that, you can pretty much say if they have the two most talented people in both series, we might have like 3, 4, 5, and 6, if that makes sense. If we just talk about from a talent perspective. So I think we match pretty well when it comes to talent. They have the leg up on us when it comes to like chemistry and stuff. And that we can't rush that. Like, that has to come just like it came for them. Like, they was together for like 4 or 5 years before they even sniffed going to the finals. So we got to go through that too. Like, hopefully it won't take us that long, but we gotta think of stuff like that. It's not a microwave. Like, we can't just form a team and just automatically think we're going to win a championship. It's going to take time.
Yeah, I do like the way you separated it in terms of talent might be close, but then when you start adding in chemistry and things like that, they have the edge. Yeah, I agree with that. Geoff?
Well, I know it's a different sport, but I'm going to use a quote from someone that everybody on this panel respects a great deal, and that's Bill Parcells. And Bill Parcells once said, "You are what your record says you are," right? And so when the regular season was over, we were 0-4 against them, and we were 0-11 or whatever it was against all of the top teams. And so that was part of our resume. That was part of our story. But the playoffs are a different animal. The playoffs are a chance to change the narrative. And I think everybody in the chat and everybody on this panel was asking the same question. Why are we 20 points worse than all of these best teams and we kick the snot out of everybody else that we play? Those two things seem very incompatible, right? It was like, this should not be, like, just from a basketball perspective, that should not happen. And so here you have it. Circumstances matter. Yes, there's injuries, whatever the case may be. But, I think Boston is probably still the more talented team. But at the same time, I think that the Knicks are playing commensurate with their talent. And so the games are a lot closer because we're not an untalented team. We have our starting five is as good as anybody's. And the way that Mitchell Robinson is playing, and remember, he missed the first 3 games of the Boston series this year. He didn't play at all. And the 4th game was the one that went to overtime, which we probably should have won, right? And so Robinson clearly makes a difference in this equation. We're seeing good Deuce McBride, shout out to Wiz, get that like in there, Bubba. But what we're seeing is, yes, the Knicks are a talented team. I think it's semantics. You could say that. I think it's preference to say that. Well, I prefer this player to this player, so I'm going to say that their talent is better. Both teams have 2 All NBA players. I think you could argue that ours are probably more offensively oriented and gifted, and theirs are more defensive oriented and gifted. And then we have 2 outstanding wings who do a lot defensively, but Derek White is an outstanding defender in his own right. And Drew Holiday has lost a step at age 34, still an outstanding defender in his own right. And then, Porzingis, when he's healthy, is we know who he is. We had him firsthand, and he's a unicorn, and he unlocks a lot of things for them that frankly they're missing right now. But yeah. I think that the talent level. Go ahead.
You touting the Boston a lot in terms of what they have and what they are, and Drew is this and Drew is that. I just want to make sure you're still with us.
Man, I'm getting beat up tonight.
Yo, Steph
I don't know what I did to y'all, but I'm getting beat up tonight. I'm gonna call the cops.
Queen, mess around. We see Geoff special guest on Locked on Celtics or something.
Well, I would have to be on one of them Cleveland shows. Those are the ones that Steph likes to watch.
I'm playing with you, Geoff. I'm playing with you.
I know. It's all good.
I will say this. To Jerrell's point, Geoff, and no disrespect to Derek White, if you want to take Tatum and Brown over our 2 best players, I don't even think I would take Brown. I mean, if you want to do a toss up between Tatum and Brunson, I'm not going to argue. I could, but I'm not gonna argue. Particularly when you throw in the clutch factor. I'm not just talking about, just skill set, right? After that, you taking Derek White over OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Are you taking Drew Holiday over those 2?
No.
Geoff?
Derek White, I might.
Wow.
Both of them, or which one?
White. I would probably go OG White Bridges.
Okay. But I can understand that.
But so let's play this out. I think Brunson is the best of the lot, in my opinion. So I'd have Brunson 1, then I would have Tatum and Brown 2 and 3, whatever order you want to. Then I would have Cat 4.
You would have Brown over Cat?
Yes.
Brown not even looking right this series.
With Brown?
Well, hold on. We're just talking about talent, right? We're not talking about what they've done. Like this, that's a different question. Right?
I think I'm talking about. That's a great distinction, Jerrell.
And we're talking about just pure talent.
Well, if we're talking about pure talent, Tatum is at the top. But I do think how you play down the stretch and how you elevate your I think that has something to do with it. So to me, when I'm talking about player, and that includes talent, how you deploy that talent, when you deploy that talent, that's what I'm talking about. But if you're just talking about skill set, pure skill set, Tatum would be number 1.
Yeah, to me, that's what talent means. I'm just talking about like pure skill set, and we talk about like clutch and stuff like that. I don't think that has anything to do with talent.
I'm talking about player, the best player in the series, and I do think you can be the best. You can have the best talent, and not be the best player.
Correct. I believe that too. That's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Players. Like if we were drafting in this series, who would you draft first? Let's do the first 4 players. Who would you draft first, second, third, and fourth?
Tatum.
Okay.
Second. I'll go.
Come on, Jerrell. Get it out. Get it out, buddy.
It's between Brown.
It's okay. It's okay. You're still fam, no matter what.
I'm thinking because like defense is like Brown is a better defender. So, but Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson. So it's hard. Like if I'm drafting, let me guess. I'll pick Jalen Brunson. I'll go that way. So give me Tatum, Brunson, Brown, and then Cat.
Okay.
But I can switch Cat and Brown. Like it's really close. I can see either way.
I would switch Cat and Brown. I would do Tatum, Brunson, Cat, Brown.
Okay.
Geoff?
I would do Tatum. I would do Brunson first, then Tatum and Brown, and then Cat.
Okay.
Yeah, I would do Brunson, Tatum, because Tatum wouldn't have to close, so that'll help. I would do Brunson, Tatum.
Wait, so I don't know, Steph. You make it seem like Jason Tatum can't close. He hasn't closed these past 2 games, but you say you don't think
that's the knock on him. Listen, I've been listening to a lot of media. Okay. That's the knock on Tatum overall. He's had some series in which he has closed, game 7s in which he has played well, but overall, the knock on him is that he's not good in big moments. And they're talking about even last year's series, he wasn't even the MVP. You know,
I the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals. Brown was the winner in both of that award in both of those series.
See, to me, I would have gave the MVP to Tatum.
Yeah, somebody did say that he didn't get it, but that he could have gotten it.
He could have definitely gotten it. He led them in every category. Damn,
he was 37-7 or something like that. Crazy.
Yeah, like he was killing. Like he definitely could have gotten it. So
not very efficient.
I don't knock him for not getting it, if that makes sense. But yeah,
no, it does. It does. No, I'm going Brunson, Tatum, Cat, OG. I mean, listen, I'm not taking anything from Brown. He's not a good dribbler, and he's not a good shooter.
I didn't know OG was an option. You give 4 players. They wouldn't did OG.
Yeah. And he's not a good shooter. So maybe he's just looking a little bad right now because because he's not 100%. But if I'm starting a team and I have to pick between these players right here, give me Brunson, give me Tatum, give me Cat, and give me OG. And I'll take on any 4, even if y'all duplicate Towns and I mean Tatum and Brunson on your team.
Okay.
That would be my team. Right there. I think the Knicks are just as talented as Boston. In my opinion, they just haven't played up to their ceiling to this point. And to your point, Jerrell, they have the edge in terms of chemistry, championship pedigree, and defense. Right? They're a better defensive team for sure. But the Knicks are closing the gap fast.
Hey, I haven't seen. It's been 3 years. Stephanie talked this much shit in 3 years. Do y'all understand this? Y'all ain't never heard her talk like this, yo. Ever.
Am I drinking the Kool-Aid too early?
No, I wouldn't say that. You just don't usually talk like that. That's all. Like you, like, F Boston, yo. We better. Like you don't usually do that, but it's like I get it.
I'm just seeing this team peak before my eyes. And if we get blown out by 30, I'm gonna be back here crashing earth, right?
Because you talking like Boston is sweet. I'm telling you,
Like a meteorite crashes.
if you listen back to this, you've been talking like Boston been sweet for the last 2 hours. But it's all good though. I like the energy.
Good,
I
man.
like
Love
that.
it.
I like
Love
that. Love it. Let's get it, man. Game 3, man. Let's go. Matter of fact, by the time we have our next show, we should know what happens. So
We should know. I'm definitely going on Sunday. AJ, let me know if you're available Sunday morning or Sunday night.
Okay, I'll let you know.
To do a recap show.
We on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday's Mother's Day, so I don't know if I'll be able to.
Sunday is Mother's Day.
Yeah, so I think I probably won't be available.
Yeah.
The boss ain't
Shout
gonna
out
like
to all
that.
the mamas out there.
Right, the
But
boss
you
ain't gonna
know
like
what?
that.
It's an early game. Like if we want to do Saturday night, if you're not going out on a date or anything,
I don't know.
you know.
That's up to the boss too. I gotta let you know.
We all gotta check with the boss on that one. None of us are in charge of that.
Say, were you getting the Mother's Day and the night before Mother's Day and all that?
Right. No, you're right.
Like,
You're right.
It's like Mother's Day Eve and Mother's
You guys gotta talk about no basketball. Like they don't care about
Day. That's actually a thing too. Mother's Day Eve.
anything,
Okay.
man. A whole weekend for them.
And gents, get your flowers purchased. Don't be that guy who doesn't get nothing for your mama now.
Already got my sentence ordered. It's already on the way, Jeff. It's already
There
on the way.
you go. Okay. All right. I mean, I think that's all I have. Unless you guys have anything else you wanna
Nah, man.
you wanna add.
I have one other thing that I wanted to mention just because I think it's funny, not that it's relevant for anything. But so like I'm getting my whole family in on this. Like my brother and I are really the only true Knicks fans, and my dad is too, but he doesn't watch any of the games or anything. But I've been getting my nieces and my nephews on the Knicks wagon here. And one of my nephews is not really into sports, but I had to laugh. And my Jets fans in the audience are going to appreciate that. This one, he said the game had just ended, and he goes, Jets, Knicks.
Okay.
And so I don't know where it came from, but I thought it was hilarious. And so if it works, I'm going to stick with it. I don't know what it is, but I thought it was pretty funny, and we laughed and had a good time about it. So I wanted to share it. And we got a super chat from Silk Sutton.
We got a super chat. Let me do that real quick. Shout out to Silk Sutton. Thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm with you, Queen, Boston podcast. They say Tatum is soft and they scared of Brunson.
That's all they talking. That's all they. But this is the national media. I usually dig into the crates though, to do like Locked On Celtics and these other content creators that's just like us. I'll get to that tomorrow because there was so much national media. They said Bill Simmons is hiding, that he hasn't done a podcast since they lost game 2.
Good. Stay in hiding forever.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. But that's what they're bringing up. That Tatum is not a closer. He's, he's not the face of the league. They thought this was put to bed when they won the championship, but some of them say he wasn't even the best player. So it's just coming all out again. Listen.
Well, they scared of Mitch, and he's about 6 or 7 on our depth chart of really good players. So if that's the case, they in trouble.
Missoula is overthinking. I wouldn't be surprised if they talking about him losing his job if they lose this series. I haven't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, let's just say this. With all the Boston media stuff that you heard, imagine if that was us.
Right.
Imagine if the Knicks lost 2 20-point leads at home twice in a row.
Tibbs wouldn't even be here to coach game 3.
This whole show would be different. People be calling your phone and you didn't even put the number up there. So.
We wouldn't have a building to play in. We'd have burned it down.
Like if that would have happened to us, oh no, what? No. Yeah. So yeah, they get to have all that negative press too. But if that would have happened to us, you already know what it was.
The phone would ring. Queen be like, "How'd you get that number?"
Right. She didn't even put it up. Her phone would have
Sorry,
rang.
wrong
Every time.
number.
Her phone would have kept ringing, and phone, ain't put the number up there in weeks.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man. You ain't lying. Oh my God, it would have been downright toxic right now. Like right now, people are like stunned. Like, what what's going on? If they would have hit 2 more shots, if they would have did this, if they would have did that. Nobody's talking about the Knicks not playing a perfect game, leaving a lot of meat on the bone too. It's all about Boston.
That is such a mistake that they're making by doing that.
Yep.
The Knicks haven't played a good game.
Yep. It's all about Boston collapse.
Yeah.
I don't care what the storyline is. I just want W's.
Yep.
I don't care. Let the media say whatever they want, because guess what? The only way to shut them up is to win. You win this series, and then they're going to talk about how the Pacers are better than us. And then you win that series, and then they're going to talk about Oklahoma City and how they're, or whoever it is, that they're better than us and that we don't belong. And guess what? You win that one, and you're the champs. They got nothing less to say.
Yep.
The only way to shut them up is to win.
You figure they'd learn their lessons, right? In the last series, Kate Cunningham was the best player on the court at all time. I'm like, afterwards, you're like, well, what? Like, so you see those people, they haven't watched the Knicks all season like we have.
Right.
Like they don't watch the games.
Yeah, we're going to be the underdog in every series. It doesn't depend on. It doesn't matter who we play.
Love it.
Right. And you could tell they don't watch the Knicks because they're like, Boston is soft and the Knicks is this physical bruising team. I'm like, really?
I'm like,
we just got our physicality wings in the last series.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to say shout out to Detroit. Detroit actually.
Thank you, Detroit.
You know what I'm saying? Detroit, that was good practice. I like that.
We needed that scratch on the chin and the black guy and the bloody lip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to JJ, 7 likes from 100. If you're able to, let's see if we can get to 100 likes before we get out of here. Thank you, JJ. I appreciate that. I'm not sure where. Let me see where we are. I'm scared to reload my computer.
Let AJ look at it.
I'll do it for you, Queen. I don't want to hear that.
Sound like Morgan Freeman. Don't do nothing. Don't do nothing.
Oh, that's so funny.
Everybody getting the smoke tonight.
Did you hear Paul Pierce walked? Did he actually walk the 20?
No. He staged it like he walked, but he didn't. I saw.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
He didn't walk.
No, that was 20. That was 20 miles up like LA hills and stuff. Hey, you can do that.
I mean, I want to highlight. I thought this was so funny. Shout out to A Train. Said the Knicks need to sell antacids at the concession stands at Madison Square Garden.
For real.
They need to Uber them to our houses too.
Right.
Yeah. I hope they get good money from Pepsi AC or them joints, man, because they're making a lot of money off of the Knicks. So.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta make sure.
Yeah, salute to Sim. I think Sim and Tone is on MBK right now.
Shout out to
Sim. They doing the losers lounge?
I don't know. I gotta see. I know they was up there. I ain't see what it was.
That'd be funny.
Probably.
There is one more super chat, Queen.
Okay.
Artman, thank you, Artman. Known as Steve. Thank you for the 999 super chat.
Salute to Steve, man. Real
Game
art,
3
man.
Saturday. Peace and blessing, y'all. Man,
definitely.
We need to get that game, Queen. We could go 1-on-1 at home, but that one we get has to be the game 3.
It has to be game 3. I hear you. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing.
But if you get game 3, why stop there? Just get game 4.
Get all of them.
Let's not give anything away here. I'm just saying that. It's been a while since I used my broom. Just ask my wife. So,
all right. Any last words?
Shout out to the chat, man. Yo, hit the like. Let's get to that 100. Let me do one last refresh where we're at. We're at 94. 6 more to go. So hit the like button on the way out.
Yeah,
shout
definitely.
out to the chat, man. Thank you for hanging out with us, man. And we look forward to game 3 and the next show.
Yep.
And shout out to
you know,
Queen for hanging in there through technical difficulties
Yeah,
tonight.
man.
I know it's been,
Yeah.
been
I know
a
it's
struggle.
that is.
Shout out to
Yeah.
both queens, like because they're two different voices. So both of them.
Hey, we
Shout
got
out
another
to,
super
shout out to
chat,
both of
Jay.
them.
Trey's
Yeah,
in the
Oh,
house.
Trey Fraser. Oh yeah.
Trey,
Shout out to Trey.
Thanks,
Dope
Trey,
Soul
man.
family. Appreciate
Trey,
you.
why you not on here, man? You could have popped on for a couple of seconds.
Trey probably chilling, man.
He
I
said,
did see that.
Did y'all see Nia long tweet after the game? Oh yeah. She
Yep,
said,
I
oh yeah, I
retweeted.
saw that.
I think I retweeted. I
I
definitely
know where that's coming from.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's effing go Knicks. Y'all know where that's coming from. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
She's not the biggest Boston fan.
Let's just say
She
don't like
hates the
Boston.
Celtics
She
more than I do. Let's put it
don't
that way.
like Boston. She don't like Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She don't like either one of them places.
Yeah. And I don't know if she still lives in Brooklyn, but they she used to live in Brooklyn. I don't know if she's still here.
I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. Well,
Yeah,
I will be
okay.
home for 2 weeks with the crispy internet starting tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm gonna miss these catfish dinners down here, but I'm looking forward to the internet. It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off.
We're gonna have to get you some catfish somewhere. We gotta do that stuff.
Oh boy. Anybody else? Any last words before we get out of here? Shout out to the chat, by the way. You guys have been amazing. On YouTube and on Twitter, the replay gang, and then the silent listeners, man. The ones that you see at the watch parties, and they come up to you and you be like, "What's your name in the chat?" And they be like, "Nah, I don't listen in the chat. I just be listening while I'm driving or listening while I'm doing that." So shout out to y'all too.
That was on fire tonight, as usual.
Yep. All right. We out of here.
Peace.
Out.
Peace. Until next time, fam.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. DopeSoul,
Where you at? Where you at?
DopeSoul,
Where you at? Where you at?
DopeSoul,
What?
DopeSoul,
What?
your